Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It's time for another G1 League Season 5 LAN Finals group stage match. It's going to be LGD China versus Team DK, an all-Chinese affair. Currently, if we take a quick look at the groups, DK is 0-1 in those groups. LGD China sitting pretty at 1-0. They had a great performance earlier, and we'll see if they can continue the road to success here. Alliance is actually 2-0. That hasn't been updated yet. Liquid has fallen to 0-2. But otherwise, these are your group results currently. Match should be starting any minute now, so Blitz, let's go ahead and introduce the teams once we get them up online on the screen. I'll let you take Team DK. I'll do LGD. So we're going to test your glasses now.
I can't see that far.
Well, then I'll read them for you.
Hold on, I've got this.
You got DK.
That's Burning, I'm almost certain.
That's Burning.
I recognize that face.
Correct.
He also known for his Alchemist, I'm pretty sure. Lone Druid and Anti-Mage. Man, this is like...
I'm just torturing you. You know what? Let me
let's
introduce
keep going.
them. All
Yeah,
right.
I got this.
Okay.
That's Super.
Super.
Playing the mid role, the 2 role.
Yeah.
Beastmaster with some of those heroes. That's ROTK.
ROTK.
Just playing Darkseer, Batrider, Nature's Prophet off lane. X with 2 exclamation points, in fact. Playing the 4 role for Team DK.
Known, of course, for a solo mid play.
And that has to be QQQ by process of elimination. Don't even need to look that up.
Yeah, it was in the drafter slot. It might have been doing the drafting. Well, we've already talked about the matchup, but let's look at the hexagons. We'll probably update them after today if we have some time, but DK, an experienced veteran team. All these guys have been around for ages in Chinese Dota, and most of them with a lot of accolades accrued along the way.
Yeah.
Didn't look so good in that first match versus the Alliance in terms of the result, but I actually felt like they played really well considering what they're up against.
I mean, come on. They couldn't have really expected that to happen, right?
No. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at the result, yeah, they lost 0-1, but they played really well.
Yeah. If you were just to look at the result, then yeah, it looks like, oh, well, Alliance beat them. But if you look at how they played despite that disadvantage, and it was a heavy disadvantage too.
Yeah.
Like the heroes they had, I mean, especially since they were being offensive tri-laned, I mean, they acquitted themselves quite well.
And Kawa is telling me it's time to introduce LGD, so here we go. We've got Sylar on that hard carry role. All these guys apparently are have their own personal magazines. I would love to get an edition of Xiaowei. That sounds like a pretty educational read. And, well, he's going to be playing that 2 position. Yao, I mean, Yao sometimes even goes mid depending on the hero, so those two are pretty interchangeable. We did see Xiaowei tends to play the more aggressive mid. So if they get something like a Nyx Assassin, a Beastmaster, a real tempo controller, then you'll see him there. If it's something more like an Invoker, kind of a semi-carry, more defensive hero, maybe it's something that Yao takes. DDC, playing that 4 role. The Initiator, your secondary support. And then, of course, last but not least, the one guy who decided to wear a suit is looking pretty suave himself. That's DD, or SC, as he's also known, playing that hard support role. And I got to say, I feel like he's fully back. It doesn't really feel like there's any rust left, even though he took a break and was thinking of retiring for some time. So for LGD, we've got hexagons here. Game sense, I feel that is really their strength in terms of these guys don't really get caught out too often. Even when LGD loses, they usually don't get steamrolled. They'll slowly but surely lose ground. They'll give up territory, but they won't get just overwhelmed and completely trashed early. I mean, that's something we don't normally see when they're playing.
Yeah, I actually really like their play. The one thing I really noticed is that they defend their towers like no other
to
team.
The death.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we're pushing a T2 and we're way ahead of you,
right,
and you're trying to take a T1. We'll still defend that. We give you no room to come back into the game.
Man the ramparts. You know, everybody to the battlements. Like they all TP and they always carry TP scrolls. I mean, most of these Chinese teams do, but they're particularly good at that. So I fully agree there. We've introduced the teams. Your predictions for today?
LGD versus DK. You know, DK played quite well against Alliance despite the disadvantage, but LGD looks like they're on fire. LGD with an easy win.
LGD 1-0. I'm actually going to say I think DK is going to take it. I'm calling DK. Burn your soul. He'll be back. The B-God is going to make a statement here. LGD, sure, they took down IG. They're not going to go 2-0 in the groups to start things off. It'll be DK. With that being said, we'll have Luminous as well as AUI casting this one. Guys, over to you. Your thoughts on the match and on the match and your predictions?
Hey, this is Luminous. This is Curtis Lee, or AUI, and what's your prediction so far? Because LGD just had a big stomp.
I've really been liking LGD lately, but DK, I thought they were outplaying Alliance overall, but I still have to go with LGD here. Their performance against IG, even though I thought the picks were a bit lopsided, it was impressive.
Yeah, both these teams have a ton of experience in big LAN tournaments. Both teams have veteran players, so for me to actually pick one team over another is very difficult. I'm actually going to go with my LD co-caster to say that I'm going to go with DK. They seem to me they're pretty impressive, especially in their defeat. I think they have a lot of resiliency, which is kind of what you need to kind of go in this deep, long tournament and come out ahead. I think they're going to maybe even take a game off LGD. So
yeah, and I think this match, regardless of how it goes, it'll be, in terms of team skill, I think it'll be one of the closest matches we'll have in the tournament.
Definitely. Well, all of these matches are very close so far.
True.
I mean, even with Team Liquid just losing now, I felt like that game's actually a lot closer than what the results show. But looks like we're ready to jump into the game, and should be a good one. Kawa?
What? Looks like we're ready to jump in the game. Here we go.
What?
That's even gone to the...
It's loading.
It's not even the draft.
And here we go!
Here we go!
Here we go. Oh my god. Kawa.
You have one job, man. You have one job. Welcome to game number 5 of G1 League's today's action, featuring LGD Gaming on one side and DK on another, all Chinese affair. And I love my 80 Dota Chinese games. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll see one. We're probably going to see the draft kind of gearing towards early aggression, mid-game aggression, kind of a couple of Roshan team fights, but it should be kind of action-packed throughout all of the games, or all stages of the game.
It's really looking that way. The bans, what do you think about the bans? I think they did ban Wisp in the first round against some of the Western teams.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if they think that hero is first pick worthy now, or is it just because the Western teams run it so well?
I think it's more or less a respect to the Western team. They use that hero so much. They know kind of the in and out of the hero. We talk about how once you know how the hero works, it forces you to play a little bit differently. But on the same note, it's actually a hero that takes a lot of intricacy. So maybe they're not feeling comfortable.
He definitely has one of the highest, like, some of the stuff you can do with him is just not expected at all.
Right.
Like, just for example, like, you TP before you tether when you're going to save someone. Don't be like, oh, I need to tether them right away so you can get a little bit of move speed. But if you do that, it's a very high chance that you're going to get stunned, plus your TP is a bit later.
Right, and it's because small things like that, maybe they're not as practical with the hero, so they don't really pick it themselves. Also, the other big thing about how Chinese team like to play with their supports is they want their support to do a ton early game. They like to rotate, they like to challenge pools, they like to scout. Wisp is not a hero that could do much. He can't zone people out lane, he has 0 armor. So maybe that's why that we don't see Wisp too much in the Chinese scene either.
That sounds good. Leicester banned by LGD. This seems quite standard for the Chinese scene. I'm a bit surprised just because of their first pick, and he seems like the hero that they would get as their first pick. But perhaps LGD has something special up their sleeve. I mean, this is a big tournament. Group stages are very important, as aforementioned, in this tournament. So they probably have a pocket strategy that they can use for probably every single match of this.
Well, I actually think that the pocket strategy may come from the Western teams a little bit more. Like we saw Alliance came out, roaring out the gaping on the first match, did that crazy level on Roshan. I feel like the Chinese are maybe, they feel confident or maybe arrogant even, depending how you look at it, to say that, hey, as long as we play our standard game, we're going to win the tournament. So I actually don't see them trying to do some crazy level on Roche or trying to do a cheesy strat involving some crazy heroes. I think they're going to play absolutely standard. And what a rare ban here on Clockwork on the first stage. You only see this, for example, against Team Liquid or some of the other teams. But in a pool that's left with a Magnus, a Bat Rider, they just go with Lone Druid.
I think the reason that they banned Clockwork right there was because they thought LGD wouldn't pick up the Meg, so they could get it themselves. And I still think that Clockwork completely dumps on Meg.
Yeah,
so
he does.
If you're able to get Meg without a Clockwork in the game, it's actually just a lot easier, just because Clockwork's so good against that hero the entire game, really. And I expect them to go for something like Meg, the Tara, and a Bat Rider here, but who knows what they have in plan. I really like that combo just because when you post on, you pull them back, their entire team has to sort of chase after them to try to save them, and Meg just blinks in and gets out like 3-4
man RP. But looks like they want to bolster the lanes a little bit with the Darkseer first, and it's going to be a Chaos Knight second. Wisp is in the pool right now, and if DK wants it, they can pick up themselves, but by picking it like this, they also give LGD the opportunity to steal the Wisp. And this is the second time I think we saw CK without Wisp being picked up earlier on. I'm not too sure how the Chinese value the draft order, but I really don't think CK is a hero without Wisp.
I mean, there was a time where
he was
in the Western scene, CK wasn't picked at all, and in the Eastern scene, he was first pick.
Yeah, this was like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, I mean, he has been changed a little bit, but not that much. And he's still a very strong hero even without Wisp. Like, people seem to forget about him completely in the game just because he's become so synonymous with like Wisp in the same team.
Right.
So against Lone Druid in particular, CK is actually very good at bursting down someone like Lone Druid. As long as you can hold a hero still and hit him twice with all your illusions, you can do like 3,000 damage in 2 hits.
We also had to kind of remember, though, as we see Kunkka and Jakiro being picked up by LGD. Back in 2011, 2012, the game was a lot slower. The game was tending to go to 60 minutes, 70 minutes, and when you have an early game powerhouse like Chaos Knight, you could get a ton of early game kills. Now, since the game is a lot quicker, when you have heroes like Kunkka, Jakiro, where they can fight back at you. So we are going to end up seeing DK drafting the Wisp, which is, again, somewhat a little bit awkward with the order of draft, but at the end of the day, they will have CK Wisp. We just talked about how Chinese teams prefer their support heroes to do a little bit more on the early game, and as a result of this draft so far, I think DK has to play passive, whether they like it or not.
I almost feel like the CK pick first is almost a Wisp bait. If LGD took Wisp, then they would aggressive tri lane. They put the Dark Shield against the Lone Druid. He doesn't do that badly, and the aggressive tri would probably go, or they would have planned for it to go very well for them. Because CK is just he's good at aggressive tri lane. So
sure,
yeah. And I like that they did not take that Wisp, because I think even if they have to give, like, if they took Wisp, I don't think he goes that well with Lone Druid. Actually, I really like a hero that can set up the Wisp port like a Beastmaster, get some extra vision. Sure, Lone Druid, he pushes towers, but he's not really a Wisp setup.
Yeah. Well, do you actually run the CK Wisp on solo mid on the Dire now, or dual lane mid? Because if it's Radiant, you almost say, all right, we have to pull.
Yeah.
We could do whatever we want here.
Mean, we did see in the qualifiers that, I can't quite remember who it was, they had a CK Wisp, and then they didn't pull at all. Was that?
It was...
DK's turn to
I don't know, but it was on the Radiant side, remember?
Yeah, it was on the Radiant side, and I was just really disappointed that they didn't pull at all. I think it would have completely won in the game. Actually, I think they might have won that game anyways. But I'm not too sure how much the Chinese teams abuse that. I mean, that's another thing with Wisp. Like, it's not entirely intuitive that you would tank hit and then while the projectiles in the air, you tether to the creeps. Like, if you've never seen that before, you don't. It's not something you really think of that much. They see, hey, the mid pull got nerfed. You can't really pull it anymore.
Right.
And maybe it's a bit arrogant of me to say that the Chinese, because they're sort of at the top level in Dota, they wouldn't have tried that. But sometimes even at the
you
top,
just don't know.
These small things slip by.
Yeah,
5 seconds
So
remaining.
I mean, Garo and West sort of completely slipped by the Chinese scene for
a longest time until they started recently picking up. But I mean, now with the CK Wisp, you kind of could predict where the laning situation is gonna be.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
mostly gonna be, CK Wisp up top. If there's a possibility, it might go mid. But for the most part, Darkseid's either jungling or on the long lane.
I mean, one thing that we did see is that the agency, they've aggressive trialing with CK Wisp, and it's worked out very well for them, I think, in both times I've seen it in the Eastern qualifiers.
Really? I haven't seen it myself.
Okay, so
How does that lane really work, though? I mean,
CK with the Reality Rift, you just have that instant stun. So they think, hey, CK Wisp, we can be incredibly greedy with our tri-lane. And then all of a sudden, there's a CK Wisp. It was, if you remember, there's a game they played against a Drow Ranger. I'm not too sure if you saw that one, but they just completely shut down Drow Ranger.
10
And
seconds remaining.
what was that the
Shadow
Mineski? Was it?
carried? Or,
Was that the
5
Mineski drought that
seconds
didn't get
remaining.
frost arrows?
yeah, it was.
Okay, so I wasn't seeing that game.
Yeah.
So
LGD's
I also
turn
did
to
not see the
pick.
subsequent feed that may or may not have happened by one team. But in any case, CK Wisp. The thing about I'm not too sure whether CK Wisp going aggressive tri-lane works is that you put so much pressure on your first gank actually working. I mean, you have a lot of tether heal and you could put your Chaos Knight back to full mana, but because Wisp is at 0 armor, it's so easy that when your CK is
10
jumping on them,
seconds remaining.
that they could jump on your Wisp as well. And you could actually lose a lot of restorative as a
5
result.
seconds
That's definitely true. I
remaining.
mean, on the flip side, Wisp is surprisingly hard to initiate on and kill in a tri-lane.
Sure.
I mean, I always see like either the Wisp on my team or I'm aggressive tri-lane one, and we're like, hey, wow, Wisp so switchy, go kill him, and then you put a stun on it, and he's already tethering away, and then he just flies away, and you're like, oh, well, and then the CK jumps, and you're like, oh crap. So, I mean, he's not as bad in lane as people seem to think. I actually don't know how he sort of got that entire I'm useless in lane. He gives a really good. He's really good in particular at fighting when they contest your poke.
Definitely.
Because mobility in the jungle is just king. You can kite around them, and he has a decent. It's a decent stun. I mean, it will disrupt stuff, and his
10
Wisp ball is actually
seconds
do
remaining.
a very good amount of damage. You hit level 3, that's a 250 damage nuke. That's
5
something that we see
seconds
for some
remaining.
heroes at level 7.
Right. If you hit all of them.
And they
which,
pick Visage, they won.
DK's turn to pick.
Heroes OP.
well, Visage was a big part of a DK comeback, or what could have been a DK comeback for their game against Alliance. They unfortunately did not win that game, but did give them a very good lane to challenge a CK Wisp. Now the Shrek trialing. Whether you're gonna be we know the trialing heroes. Oh,
Wow.
maybe we don't. It's gonna be an Earthshaker.
DK's
So
turn
we're gonna
to
see a
pick.
farming Visage. Right? Is this
They
old
won.
school 2010 Visage trialing with a farming Visage? Aoi's not even casting anymore. He says like, you won.
I'm so happy right now.
And
Omni
now we
Knight.
have Omni Knight. Alright, so for a second I said, alright guys, DK, LGD, they're going to play absolutely standard, easy game. You know, they're confident. And now this is not anything standard. I don't even want to predict these lanes.
Is that a solo mid Wisp?
No, super plays are solo mid.
Okay, so
So
solo
we're going to
mid
solo mid
Omni
Omni
Knight.
Knight against, I believe, solo mid Kunkka.
Okay.
That seems to be it, but we'll actually quickly go into the game and start introducing all of these players. Super